Good morning, everyone. I ran across this ad for uh, one of those old ads about all of these doctors who are smoking a certain brand of cigarettes, and now at the time there was some information that was available to the cigarette companies, and apparently some medicals. Oh, hey, Brian, thanks, man. Glad that we're having a we're having a really nice day today, sort of overcast, and so my lighting system works the best. that. Hi, Dominic. I was just talking about you the other day. I was talking about how we made that resonance watch with that brass table that you made. It was really cool. Hi, Alex. How you doing? Michael, Fernando, Goldfinger. Want to break out in song Goldfinger. Okay, guys. Anyway, I one of the other things that has been working on. I've been working on ads for LaRique, and but these aren't to sell watches. They're more to sort of show some different ideas. And I thought, well, this is something that I thought I'd kick around. And let me ask you something. What what do you consider to be like? What should watch ads tell us that would help somebody who's an experienced watch collector? And what kind of ads would sort of introduce somebody? Like somebody sees this cheapo, fancy, blinged out watch and go, "Oh boy, that must be a good watch." And but uh, what would a watch company who values good horology and honesty flies away. Let me see if I can get my thing up, my thumbs up. Sometimes when I do my thumb up, a little thumb will come up. I got to have one that comes up with a birdie or something. Okay, so let's kick that around some. David, happy perpetual calendar days. Yes, today is the first of the month. This is isn't that when you adjust? Is it either annual calendars or perpetual calendars, or do they need adjusting? Hi, Lazarus. How you doing? Hi, Abdul. Today is when you adjust annual calendars. Annual calendars, right. But perpetual calendars don't need adjustment today. Okay, annual calendars. I have neither, so it's my. I don't know. Mine's on a blue moon calendar. Every time there's a blue moon is when I do mine. Actually, it's sort of a. I was looking at some calendars this morning. I was going through my watches and I wanted to set them all to the first of the month because it's such an unusual month. And what happened was that I realized I don't have that many watches with calendars. Maybe a quarter, if that, maybe a fifth of the watches I own have calendars on them. This one, this is a Daniel Roth um, retrograde, and it's got a right here. It's a hand date, and that's about it. I mean, on it. My other Daniel Roth doesn't have any date at all, but it tells me what time it is in Hong Kong or well, Hong Kong or Bangkok. Brian, one thing they will never tell us is anything about the movement. The top watchmakers probably spend the most time and money on the movement, but they realize the average buyer doesn't care. Yeah, that's a good point. In other words, you put all of your resources into a good movement. You don't say what the caliber is, and if we're lucky, you find out what the frequency is. And yet, I think anybody with just a little experience, one of the things is that there's something that I call chasing quartz. And chasing quartz has got like something 32,000 hertz, let alone semi-oscillation per hour. It's got like, there's no way. I mean, somebody's got something that's 5 hertz, 36,000 semi-oscillations per hour. That's not competition. I mean, it's sort of like somebody who goes into the ring, with a heavyweight champion and has taken a dance class or something. So I think they got the moves. I mean, there's no comparison. But like, so since there's something else that really may advertise better quality. And I know watchmakers are going to tell me I'm full of beans, but I do think that the lower the frequency, the higher the quality, because they have to be compared to, let's say, 2.5 to 4 hertz. Now that's my misguided belief. Yeah, just a Sky Dweller. Yes, boy, Sky Dweller. Now that's a good watch. It's funny is that glad to hear the Sky Dweller is still around. They had that wonderful watch that I think is wonderful. Nobody else, or very few, did. They started whining about the colors and the looks of it, and this is on the Yachtmaster too. I think that's a neat watch because it has such a neat countdown mechanism that Rolex made for it. Yeah, that's another thing that drives me crazy. They try to hide their movements. They say if any ad says we have a Swiss movement, then and now there's a whole new line of movements that are really the same quality that you have in a Solita, a low grade Solita, or a low grade ETA, but they have a different name to them, and they're by different company, but they're just kicking them out the door by the dozens. And now those I've seen people have been advertising heaven. They're perfectly honest about it. That's what it is, but it's still a relatively speaking cheap movement and a mass-produced cheap movement and relatively inexpensive. And so the watchmaker can put in a cheap movement and, and like, whoop, Swiss made, and it's by, XYZ movement makers. Not only do most watch buyers have no idea who that is, unfortunately, a lot of collectors don't either. So, like, okay, what do you got here? Hi, Paddle. How you doing? Oh, hi. Let's see what you got. There it is. Abdul. I am not a fan of annual and perpetual calendars due to the required adjustment. Me neither. I don't. I like hand dates, and I have no idea why. But I like them the best. Good morning, Paddle. I can report back that my paddock perpetual calendar did successfully make its jump the 1st of March. Oh, that's good to hear, Patel. That is very good. Top watchmakers say they are passionate. God. Oh, jeez. I tell you, the only ones I think, the only passions that some of those who say they're passionate is passionate about making a buck. I don't know how passionate they are about the horology. Um, it's enough. Uh, anyway, I get these things all the time and they go bink. Um, yeah, about passionate watchmakers. You know, Michael, some of them may be, like, because we don't make any money, but we're passionate about horology. That ought to be a LaRique, be a LaRique tagline. We're passionate but broke. Yeah, that's the idea that they're trying to convey is the their commitment to fine horology. I think there's one way to do that, and that's do it. I mean, in other words, you come out with some interesting horology. You don't brag about it, or you don't tell everyone how passionate you are, and then come out with a simple sort of a knockoff of a ETA, one of the standard ones that they have, or even worse, give it your own title. IWC has done that. So has Breitling. So has a lot of companies that are on a list I just don't trust. And people say, well, they don't do it anymore. Okay. But that doesn't mean I have to trust them anymore. Oh, well, we've got our own stuff. The thing is that another thing that I would like to see is that some company that says, well, we don't know jack about the movements. And so what we do, we go to Vauchur or we go to Agenor or we go to Crenode or we go to people who know what they're doing in movement making. And that's where we get our movements. I thought, now that's what I'd be interested in. But they sort of somehow they think that if they admit it, even companies that I like a lot, I know, I mean, like the relationship between H. Moser and Agenor, but there's no mention of Agenor in some of the modules that they have that I know were done by Agenor. So it's like, you respect it enough to invest in it. Why don't you talk about, rather than talking about how passionate you are, and you know you got some guy in the back room, I back at it. It's crazy. Hey, rancher, the better movement design. Yeah, yeah. Oh, what do you got? Dominic, there you are. Then the watch buyers take several steps back. Watches used to have on the dial how many jewels, automatic, and so forth. By the way, uh, Dominic, um, for some reason, I don't care about the number of jewels for two reasons. One, they're all synthetic. I mean, that's nowadays. They don't go down there and have the seven dwarves into their jewel mine. But second of all, the number of jewels simply tell you the number of gears requiring a jeweled cap to them so they don't grind them down with the movement of the gears. In a way, because I say, you can slap as many of those things on as you want. Some do tell you the jewels, but they don't tell you what the frequency is. So anyway, 40s, 50s, and 60s. You know, the other thing too, I recently I got a watch. I got a Vacheron Content 10 Mercator, and it has a Jaeger-LeCoultre 920 in it. Now the 920 was made back in the I think it was the early 90s, maybe even the late 80s, but they made them for Patek Philippe Vacheron Content 10 and Audemars Piguet. In other words, they said, okay, we're going to make a Holy Trinity uh, movement, but we're only going to allow you guys to have it. By the way, too, it's a fantastic movement. And then, you know, the watch companies can do what they want. Well, the module that they put in the Mercator is much more, is to me, is amazing. Whereas the movement itself is like, you know, it's a good, nice, good standard based movement. It's sort of an interesting kind of thing, is that you have all these different layers. You have a component that you put on top of a some base movement, and then you got the base movement. And depending on what you want to look at, on my Dandy, I've got a ETA base movement, but then I've got a module by Agenor on top, which is why I got the watch. You know, so there are a lot of different things for us to, you know, to have a good time with and to discover good buys on. Okay, let's see what else is going on. I hate marketing jargon and some overuse of some omit things as well. Overuse or underuse. Anyway, Abdul, I'm 100% with you on that. I mean, this is how come I don't like when I ever see passion. I think, my God, you know, like, give me a break. It just, you still have, you know, like a I knew this dog once who was passionate about playing ball, and a dog would sit there and go, and it did bug you. And he was passionate about it. You throw the ball, the dog was off like a jet, and he'd come back and want to do it. He was passionate, and I see that about these guys. You know, oh boy, here's another one of these things I've got to put together. Oh, you know, there's, I think there are some things they're passionate about. They're passionate about um, making money. That's important. Oh, the other thing they're trying to sell too is status. Um, Sometimes they do it in a lot of different ways. There's this one company, I forgot the name. I'm not sure which one it is. They advertise, they have their squad, all right, or their crew, and they got a bunch of celebrities, and the celebrities have on some watch. I think Tag Heuer did it. Well, a lot of them dip into it. Or they got some dynamite looking gal out there, and she's out there, you know, hubba hubba. If I want to, you know, come on, get one of these watches, and we'll have a visit. You know, it's so like, yeah. What's sort of sad is there's certain places you show up with one of those watches and people. Okay, let's see. Enough of this. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Dominic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dominic's point about the jewels. We're selling points. That's right. That's a good point. I don't think they realized what they were, but that is true. They used to do that. You know, if you look at most watch ads, and you know, you go to the secret place where they have the information. They'll, you know, more and more of them are having it, but it's like, and that's where they throw in the jewels. Oh yeah, yeah, we're doing 4 hertz, but we got, look at all the jewels we got. This, oh boy, that's what I want. Hey, Caesar's here. God, I tell you, you have the nicest parole officer, Caesar. He lets you come to visit us all the time. We're always glad to see you. I'm not even passionate about taunting minotaurs anymore. Hey, Rancher, you've lost that passion. Come on, buck up. Where did you find the LNH Hector? Oh, you find there's a whole bunch of them that you can find on the Langenheim Hectors with Caesars. There's a ton of them on Chrono 24, probably on, I don't know, I saw a lot of them on Chrono 24. Thing that got me, they're all listed over MSRP. So it's sort of like, some Rolexes that they like to put in a premium for. They oversell them. I think, I don't know. I got the Hector. It's a nice watch. It really is. But it's sort of like, I don't know if Lang and Heim will ever rid and whether they want to or not, is that I'll call it the ghost of Marco Lang. Marco Lang is alive and well in Dresden still, but there is not a single brand new watch movement from Lang and Heim. What they did is that Marco Lang had this wonderful one that was, I think you could go out and buy it, just say, hey, I want to buy a 33.1, and it's like about €1,000 or something. They'd send it to you. So, but they quit doing that for some reason. I'm not sure why. There was this one company in not Hamburg, but Munich, that had watches, the world's ugliest watches with some of the best movements in it. They bought a bunch of 33.1s and put it in some of their watches, but I don't know, man, the designs of those watches were just terrible. Here you have a company, I mean, all they had to do was put in a simple dial on the thing, but instead they had these these nightmarish, I don't know. Hey, Eric Gopher. Do you mean the W questions? Who am I buying from when I can buy it? Where can I buy it? And what am I buying when those are the W questions, Harry. Yeah, I guess I don't know. You're trying to generate interest in something. At the same time, you're trying to tell the truth about it. Here's one of the ones I've been, hang on, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm trying to, how do you do this? And, be reasonably honest. Now on this one, I have this is sort of like a poster from 1932, from the 1932 air races. And I have it at the Geneva International Airport. Well, that's not true. It wasn't at Geneva. It's some cornfield in Iowa or someplace. And uh, the name, let me see if I can fix this up so that no, I guess not. Anyway, so I got a picture of the watch, but it says the Air Sport Watch for the 21st century. Okay, why 21st century? Because 21st century pilots use Zulu time, and it's essentially what is Zulu time? Well, it's the same as a GMT or a DTZ or whatever you want to call it. And it's, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what could be said. Now, the question is, why are you even advertising anyway? Because they're all sold out and everybody's who wants one. And plus there's a waiting list for people who want one. And the advertising has to do with it. We like to put our watches up in the for the Grand Prix, and so far we're batting 1,000, 0 for 0, and 0 for 2, I should say. And we're hoping that this one, if people see it, like they'll say, "Ah, there's a sports watch." Not because we're trying to sell more, but we're trying to make it more interesting. And I guess we're not alone in this. Believe me, every watch company is trying to do it, except we don't have any advertising branch or any really money to do that. So we're just sort of going along. Different people making it up. Ali has made one. Caesar's made some. So it's that kind of thing. But then I'm wondering, hey, is there anything here that was we don't want to have anything that's misleading like that. Not only is that cigarette ad, it may be true. Maybe back then, what 1 out of 6 or whatever it was, doctors who smoked their brand of cigarettes. Well, so that I would say is probably a combination of prevarication and ignorance. I don't know. Oh, you're in Bali. I tell you, man, there aren't that. It's always good to find places without extradition for you, Caesar. Hey, MSRP prices are going up every year, but will this be the sustainable, especially with the recession market condition? Good God, I don't know, Caesar. Man, I'll tell you, I have no idea. Um, God, there's something about watches. I mean, yeah, I see the food prices. Actually, I went to the food store yesterday, went to a big supermarket, and first time prices have really come down. There were a whole bunch of sales going on, and my wife, who keeps track of all of that stuff, says, seriously. So maybe things are coming down. The whole price increase happened. It was all of it was connected up to the pandemic. The COVID pandemic threw a monkey wrench in so many things. Not only did a lot of people die here in the U.S., we had over 1 million deaths. But afterwards, the people getting back to work and stuff, the supply chains weren't right, and so things went up, including watches. The watches went through the ceiling for a while there. And so now I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Boy, I think we're sort of on a God knows what we're doing. But anyway, it seems though that a lot of people they still, they can't pay their house bill, but they want to buy another watch, and they do. The house goes unpaid. There he is. Hi, Allie. I think mentioning high number of jewels or high frequency is easy to sell watches to normal people. To many, high is better. So that's a good point. That's a good point, Allie. Hector for 16,000 euro. Well, that's not bad. That was what I think the MSRP was, Caesar. So if it's a new one for that, that's pretty good. Most people like jewels for their wives. Yeah. Well, maybe they got it for themselves too. Says, hey, I got my wife it's got a solitaire diamond. I got 15 jewels in my watch. Thanks, Patel. Yeah, I think it's going to be very Minecraft Airport. Yeah. Yeah, Abdul, I think that's one thing we've learned. You can you can take a well, we can't because we don't have a profit. Larique doesn't. But other companies, we know how much they jack up the price. Do I like vintage Calatravas? I had one, I loved it. The problem I had with it was it was too small. That was about the only thing. Uh-oh, it looks like I'm out of time. Well, let me run through these we have here. What are your thoughts on silicone hairsprings? Joseph, um, I thought I made that really clear. So, heck, Caesar likes to get me going on it. If you want mechanical watches, you don't want you want to have some of the features, including a regulator. Silicon, you can't have a regulator. You can have the um, butterfly adjustments or anything like that. And if you want silicon, get a smartwatch. They're full of silicon. Those are my and it's like no matter what the watch companies say, it's a cheap way to get around problems of magnetization. While your top watchmakers are getting hairsprings by um, Strawman or what's his name, Carl Haas. Even the ones. This is the thing that throws me in 2019. What was the name of the? I can't remember the name of the hairspring that Swatch has. That's the one that they came out with in 2019 was sort of a revision of their, and it's really good. So, but then they went to silicon, and it wasn't because of they just didn't have to mess with things. People aren't going to have, they're less likely to get things magnetized, so they're not going to send them in, so they don't have to hassle with service. Oh, I hope they just leave the tariffs alone. If if one country is getting tariffed, I can see them tariffing another country. But once you start it, then you're in a jam. That's sort of like 19th century. This is what they used to do in the 1800s when they were the birth of industrialization. I don't know what I don't want to say anything about that. Okay, one last one. Truman. Hi, all. Not long ago, I could get a single caliber 899 JLC master control from my AD for 6,000. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. That happened not too long ago. Okay. Last, yeah, Niverox. That's the one, Brian, I was thinking of. Rancher 4 p.m. Logic. Oh, topic. Okay. 10 Azrael is responsible for everything that's wrong with the watch industry. Gotcha. Thanks. Thanks, Rancher. I Trudel Knight. Uh, Traditional low frequency for similar wording is more compelling than 3 hertz. Good point, Turtle Knight, or whatever it is. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I told my wife I'd be finished by 8:30. It is 8:34. Rancher, thank you. You gave me a good heads up on that. Well, think of something fun to talk about at 4 o'clock New York time. Hope to see you then. Take care.